Russia is reporting a sharp rise in gasoline prices. Drivers in the Nizhny Novgorod region report that the price has increased by 15 rubles in just 4 shifts. According to eyewitnesses, people are in shock. On local television, one gas station employee explained, "Well, yes, 15 rubles at once. This happened over the course of about 4 shifts. How can I react?" Everyone's in shock. The situation is repeating itself in other regions. In some areas, a litre of gasoline already costs 75 rubles. People are complaining, of course. Local residents admit. Russia is a vast country, and automobiles provide crucial connectivity between its fragmented regions. But with current price increases, transportation is becoming increasingly expensive. This automatically pushes up the cost of food, building materials, clothing, and any goods delivered by road, everything that is transported by road. Economists warn that a sharp rise in fuel prices will fuel already rising inflation. The gasoline price hike will hit not only drivers but also millions of consumers who will have to pay more for everything from bread to bus tickets. The cost of war, according to experts, is only increasing and will continue to rise as Russian refineries continue to withstand Ukraine's attacks. And Kiev is unlikely to abandon this highly effective tactic, they say. All this shows that drivers in Russia are not going to tolerate price increases. Their dissatisfaction may turn into nationwide protests. The number of warnings about this is already increasing in Russia. Media previously reported that Russia is preparing to cut oil production due to Ukraine's strikes. Transneft, the monopoly of the Russian pipeline system, has warned producers of possible production restrictions in the wake of the Ukrainian attacks. Industry sources claim the infrastructure is unable to cope with the volumes, and further attacks could force Russia to reduce production. Kyiv has intensified its attacks on energy facilities since August, seeking to undermine Moscow's ability to wage war and reduce its revenues. Over the past decade, the oil and gas sector has generated between a third and a half of Russia's budget revenues, remaining the state's primary source of funding. According to the latest estimates, Ukrainian drones have disabled at least 10 Russian oil refineries, reducing the country's refining capacity by almost a fifth. The largest Baltic ports of Ust-Luga and Primorsk were also damaged. In official comments, Russian authorities are silent on the scale of the destruction, but according to sources, Transneft is already restricting companies' access to oil storage facilities in its system. Producers have been warned that further attacks could result in reduced pumping volumes. Russia, which accounts for approximately 9% of global oil production, risks cutting production for the first time in years, not due to market decisions, but to military strikes. 3 industry sources stated that the situation is becoming critical, but their names are being withheld due to the sensitivity of the matter. The strike on the largest oil port of Primorsk, which can handle over 1 million barrels per day, over 10% of Russia's total production, has attracted particular attention. Following the attack, operations there were temporarily suspended. Ukrainian leader Volodymyr Zelenski noted the significance of these strikes, stating, "These are sanctions that work the fastest."
Speaking at the resumption of the international conference co-chaired with Saudi Arabia focused on the question of Palestine and the two-state solution with Israel, French President Emmanuel Macron announced on September 22 that France recognizes the state of Palestine and said, "The time for peace has come because we're just a few moments away from no longer being able to seize peace." The UK, Canada, Australia, and Portugal recognized a Palestinian state on Sunday, and on Monday President Macron announced that France would join them, to lengthy applause from delegates attending the meeting. Macron said, "The time has come to free the 48 hostages detained by Hamas. The time has come to stop war, the bombing in Gaza, the massacres, and the fleeing people. The time has come because there's a pressing urgency everywhere. He said, "This is why we have gathered here today." Some might say it's too late. Others might say it's too early. But one thing is certain. We can no longer wait. The French president emphasized that there is a solution. A way of breaking a cycle of war and destruction, which he said lies in the recognition of the other, of his and her legitimacy, humanity and dignity. The meeting follows the General Assembly's resolution overwhelming endorsement of the outcome declaration from the first phase of the conference, which took place in July at UN headquarters. Macron told the General Assembly that the peace plan agreed upon on the declaration will implement the dismantlement and disarmament of Hamas. And this with the support of international partners and the necessary means required for this difficult mission.
Le temps est venu de libérer les 48 otages détenus par le Hamas. Le temps est venu d'arrêter la guerre, les bombardements à Gaza, les massacres et les populations en fuite. Le temps est venu car l'urgence est partout. Le temps de la paix est venu car nous sommes à quelques instants de ne plus pouvoir la saisir. C'est pour cela que nous nous retrouvons aujourd'hui. Certains diront trop tard, d'autres diront trop tôt. Une chose est sûre, nous ne pouvons plus attendre. Une solution existe pour briser le cycle de la guerre et de la destruction. C'est la reconnaissance de l'autre, de sa légitimité, de son humanité, de sa dignité. Que les uns et les autres rouvrent les yeux et voient des visages humains, là où la guerre a placé le masque de l'ennemi ou les traits d'une cible. Comme jamais nous ne cesserons le combat. Le temps est venu. C'est pourquoi, fidèle à l'engagement historique de mon pays au Proche-Orient, pour la paix entre le peuple israélien et le peuple palestinien, je déclare que la France reconnaît aujourd'hui l'État de Palestine. Elle mettra en œuvre le démantèlement et le désarmement du Hamas, avec le soutien des partenaires internationaux et les moyens qui seront nécessaires à cette mission difficile. La France est prête à contribuer à une mission internationale de stabilisation et à soutenir, avec ses partenaires européens, la formation et l'équipement des forces de sécurité palestiniennes. Dès lors que la négociation le permettra, le Conseil de sécurité pourra décider le déploiement d'une mission de soutien civil et sécuritaire en liaison avec les autorités palestiniennes, avec le consentement des autorités israéliennes.
إن الموقف التاريخي لفخامة الرئيس الفرنسي بالاعتراف بدولة فلسطين واتخاذ العديد من الدول لهذا الموقف الشجاع والتأييد الدولي الواسع لقرار الجمعية العامة للأمم المتحدة اعتماد إعلان نيويورك بشأن تسوية قضية فلسطين بالوسائل السلمية وتنفيذ حل الدولتين الذي صوت لصالحه 142 دولة يعكس إرادة المجتمع الدولي في إنصاف الشعب الفلسطيني وترسيخ حقه التاريخي والقانوني وفق المرجعات الدولية والقرارات الأممية ذات الصلة ومبادرة السلام العربية. الحضور
The situation is morally, legally, and politically intolerable. We must recommit ourselves to the two-state solution before it is too late. A solution in which two independent, contiguous, democratic, viable, and sovereign states are mutually recognized and fully integrated into the international community. Those who stand in the way are obligated to answer a fundamental question. What is the alternative? A one-state scenario where Palestinians are denied basic rights, expelled from their homes and their land, forced to live under perpetual occupation, discrimination, and subjugation? How is this possible in the 21st century? How is it acceptable? This is neither peace nor justice. It will only increase the growing isolation of Israel on the global stage. And let's be clear, statehood for the Palestinians is a right, not a reward.
The decade-long Israeli-Palestinian conflict cannot be resolved by endless war, permanent occupation, and recurrent terror. The only way to ensure that future generations of both Palestinians and Israelis can live in peace, security, and dignity is the two-state solution. Some will say a piece of paper cannot change realities on the grounds for Palestinians. Others will dismiss the vision of two states outright. But the fact remains. The New York Declaration was endorsed by 142 member states. And this majority clearly says the war in Gaza must end now.
لن يكون لحماس دور في الحكم، وعليها وغيرها من الفصائل تسليم السلاح للسلطة الفلسطينية، لأننا نريد دولة واحدة غير مسلحة وقانونا واحدا وقوات أمن شرعية واحدة، ونؤكد إدانتنا لجرائم الاحتلال كما ندين قتل وأسر المدنيين، بما في ذلك ما قامت به حماس في 7 أكتوبر 2023. دولة ديمقراطية عصرية قائمة على سيادة القانون والتعددية وتداول السلطة والمساواة والعدالة وتمكين المرأة والشباب. نثمن مواقف الدول التي اعترفت بدولة فلسطين، وندعو من لم يعترف بعد إلى القيام بذلك، ونطالب بدعم حصول فلسطين على العضوية الكاملة في الأمم المتحدة، علما إن مستقبلنا ومستقبلكم يكمن بالسلام، فليتوقف العنف والحرب. من حق أجيالنا أن تنعم بالأمن والحرية، لتعيش شعوب منطقتنا في سلام دائم وحسن جوار. وأنتهز هذه الفرصة لأتوجه لكل يهود العالم متمنيا لهم سنة طيبة بمناسبة رأس السنة العبرية، ولشعبنا الفلسطيني الصابر الصامت في وطنه وفي كل مكان أقول إن فجر الحرية والاستقلال قادم لا محالة.